welcome to our Spotlight on Leigh. Give it up for your moderator, Danielle Robey.
Hello! Wow, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. How are you feeling, BookCon? Woo! So, I need a little bit of a pulse check. Who here is a Shadow and Bone fan? That's what I like to hear. Okay, who's a Six of Crows fan? Okay, I heard you on that one. Ninth House fans? We had people standing up for the Ninth House. Well, I understand all of the noise because Leigh Bardugo is one of the most prolific fantasy writers in the last decade. I'll never forget when I first stepped into Leigh's universe. Do you remember the first time you did? Yeah, me too. It was 2012. I was in college at the University of Wisconsin, and I picked up Shadow and Bone. Her world grew into a global phenomenon, a Netflix series. And then she introduced us to the fan favorite heist story of Six of Crows, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year. Yep. Now, her books have sold millions of copies, right? And they've even made their way to the screen. But Leigh's creativity didn't stop there. She's also written the stunning historical fantasy, The Familiar, and the dark academia Alex Stern trilogy, which of course began with Ninth House and concludes this fall with Deadbeat. I am impatiently waiting for that one. Now, she managed to invent an entire criminal underworld, several magical systems, and a group of fictional characters that people would absolutely commit crimes for. She is brilliant, she's a little gothic, and she might be everyone's favorite spooky aunt. So if you will do me a big favor and get on your feet and give a warm BookCon welcome to the one and only Leigh Bardugo. I am not worthy.
I don't have a microphone.
Yes, we do. It's hidden over
it's
here.
Right next to me.
Keeping it classy. Hi, guys. I'm a little choked up. This is really something. I was saying backstage, Molly, who has been my publicist for over a decade, she literally at one of my first signings had to go next door to the AA meeting to see if people would come sit at my signing. So this is really nice. No, don't, aw. We rejoice. This is called progress, right? Yes.
This is evolution.
Yes.
Can you believe it's the 10th anniversary of Six of Crows?
It makes me feel quite old, yes.
So I have a very important question for you. When you were writing Six of Crows, did you have any idea that readers would fall this hard for a group of criminals?
I want you to think about the hubris that would require. No, I think when there are probably some authors in this audience, writers, yeah. The part of your job when you're writing is to put all of your ambition aside and to, like, yes, we fantasize about what if it got adapted, what if people drew fan art, all of those things, but you have to put it aside and just be with the work. And honestly, when I was writing Six of Crows, this was not really what was popular at all. And I thought, maybe I've made a terrible mistake, but it kind of worked out, so thank you guys.
It definitely worked out. Show of hands, how many people would willingly join Kaz Brecker's crew? Yeah.
Y'all don't love life, do you? You're ready to just throw yourself out there on the streets of Ketterdam.
Now, I have so many Six of Crows questions for you, but I want to go back to the beginning for anybody who doesn't know the Leigh Bardugo lore. Do you guys think you know? Some people know. So this is my favorite story. You were working as a makeup artist, and then you set a deadline for yourself on your 35th birthday. And you said you were going to become an author before you turned 35. What was going on in your life? What made you set that deadline?
Oh boy, okay. I'm gonna try to do this without going full Oprah on you guys. that was a very dark time in my life. I was in a really bad relationship, a really destructive relationship. And to be clear, I had wanted to be a novelist from the time I was a kid. That was all I wanted. That was the dream. I did not dream of being a makeup artist, but I was, you know, my dad had passed away. I was struggling financially. I was trying to find my path, and I had tried to write a book many, many times and failed. So, you know, I've told often the story of the time I had the idea for Shadow and Bone, right? The idea arrived, but it's not like I got up and started writing. When I got that idea, my first thought was, why bother? This is going to be one more thing you start and you fail at. Why even try? And I got on the phone with my friend Michelle, and I was having a cry because my life wasn't going well. And she said, you know, you should apply to the MFA. You should be writing. And I thought, no, I'm going to get off the phone and I'm going to outline this, which had never occurred to me before, okay? Process is everything. And it turned out what I needed was structure, and I'm a lover of structure. And I got off the phone and I outlined that book. And I made a deal with myself. I was like, if you can just write a bad book, then maybe one day you can write a good book. And I got to the end of that draft and I thought, you know what? I can make this good. And I'm glad I did it. But I just want to say to anybody out there who has decided, why bother? You should bother. You should try.
That deserves a round of applause, I agree. When I think about characters like Kaz or Inej, I feel like they're wearing masks a lot of the time. Do you feel like your makeup artist background had any influence there?
I mean, I think there is. You're trying to create an illusion, right? Like when you're working on makeup, whether it's special effects or it's just natural beauty, what you're really doing is you're creating an illusion, and you're trying to make sure the seams don't show to maintain that illusion. So I think in that way, perhaps. And I think, you know, if you've read Shadow and Bone, like Jenya is very much a magical makeup artist. And I think the idea of being able to control one's, you know, beauty is influence, as we know now. And I think being able to control that is always sort of an interesting thing to play with in stories.
Well said. So you've written about 15 books in 15 years. Okay, when you look back, you even look shocked. When you look back at your earliest work, do you see the way your storytelling has evolved?
Yeah, I think I got better. Like, people will be like, where should I start? I'm like, Six of Crows. Don't worry about it. Like, because I was learning on the job, right? Like, I think at least when I was starting out, I was echoing a lot of what I had read before. And I hadn't entirely found my footing and my confidence. And I think, one, I worked with an incredible editor on my first 5 books. And she was kind of mean. And I'm a grade grubber, so I responded well to that. Like, I was like, I will earn your respect somehow. And then I had editors later who would like give me a little happy face or a ha, and I was like, don't you pander to me. I will not accept a compliment. No, ma'am, I will not. But she pushed me, and I think also I wrote short stories, which is a great way to hone your sentence level work. And I took it seriously. This is what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. And my feeling is, it's part of my job is to get better and to keep challenging myself.
Yeah. Are there things you approach differently in Deadbeat, the final in the Alex Stern trilogy?
I mean, I've made a deal with myself that I'm never writing a series again because final books are so hard. They're so difficult. I get to the end and then I'm like, now I have to write the denouement, which will be another 50 pages. But I think for me, Deadbeat was really fun to write. I had just come out of a horror project it is the genre horror. It was not a horror to work on. But it was really challenging. I tend to think horror and comedy are kind of the 2 hardest genres to work in. And this felt good. It felt great to be back with these characters. I wasn't, building the magic system. I knew the parameters of what I was working with. And there is something exciting about writing, I think of Alex Stern and Kaz Brekker, and honestly, The Darkling a little bit as being in this branch of chaos characters where not even I know exactly how far they'll go, and that is very thrilling to write.
I can imagine. So they direct you almost.
I know where I want them to go, but sometimes they're like, no, I have a better, more horrible idea. So, yeah.
So you have 3 huge series with 3 books each. Do things come in threes for you?
Well, Six of Crows is a duology.
True.
We do have the Letters from Ketterdam project coming, yes. But that is a short story. People keep being like, the novella, and I'm like, no, short story. I don't think in threes. I mean, screenplay structure is in threes.
True.
And because I'm from Los Angeles, you have to learn screenplay structure. They kick you out of town. And so I do think my brain works that way, but I think it's interesting when you build a duology, and I always talk to people about this who are doing their first, you're really at the midpoint. And so the beginning of that second book sometimes feels slow because you're kind of amping up to the next big moment of action. But yeah, I don't know. I think when I write, and I've heard like AI loves threes, and I'm like, how dare you? Because I love threes. Like, no, you don't get that. You don't get to take that, little bot.
We should all call it a little bot.
That's right.
How did the idea of Six of Crows come to you originally?
Oh, this one is easy, actually. I was driving down the street in Los Angeles, and I saw a billboard for a movie called Monuments Men with George Clooney and Matt Damon. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't see it. Yeah, it's not good, right? Like, no. And I saw it, and I was like, I don't want to see that movie, but I would like to watch Ocean's 11 again. And then I almost drove up onto the curb because I was like, oh my God, I need to write a fantasy heist. And I had a few characters in my head, Kaz, Nina, Matthias. They did not have those names yet, but these sort of archetypes of characters I knew I wanted to write about at some point, who were sort of in the, like, waiting for their moment backstage. And when I got this idea, I was like, oh, of course, I am gonna force all of these really difficult people to put their lives on the line for each other.
I know you had already written the Grishaverse novels before Six of Crows, but the tone and structure are very different.
Yes.
Dark, gritty, sarcastic, whereas Grishaverse was high fantasy. Did writing Crows feel like taking a creative risk at the time?
Yes. But I also think Crows was a little bit of a response to the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I think that, you know, Shadow and Bone is very much a chosen one story, even though I hope it's pushing back on some of those ideas a little bit. But Six of Crows is about people who are not chosen. And I think, for me, that's always been a really compelling theme in fantasy. It's in Deadbeat as well, it's in The Familiar, this idea that it's not your blood or some royal birthright that gives you authority. It's how you move through the world and how you treat people and how you manage to survive with the people that you love and how you manage to protect them. So that, for me, is kind of like the driving force of it, all of it. But I do remember trying to pitch this at like, they do a thing where they do speed dating, where they have you sit down and pitch your book for 60 seconds, and then you go to the next table and pitch your book for 60 seconds, and you just sweat through the whole thing. And I remember being like, okay, 6 dangerous outcasts, and just this stony-eyed expressions looking back at me like, why would you write a YA heist? And I was like, I thought it was a good idea. Like,
they're fun.
I'll go to the other table, maybe they'll like me better. But again, I think and this is more and more true in the age of AI, that as artists, the thing we have that this tech doesn't is a point of view. AI trains on everything. We don't. We make choices from the time we're kids, the films we consume, the books we consume, the music we consume. That's what builds our voice and our point of view. And that is something that AI just does not have. And I've realized when I read, when I watch something, I want that feeling, I want that voice, I want to know where somebody is coming from. So that's in Six of Crows, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who said period? Yes, period. So out of curiosity, who here is an Inej?
No Inejes?
Oh, a few. Okay, we got a few in the front. Who here is a Kaz?
Watch out for these people. If you're sitting next to one, check your wallet, check your watch, yeah.
Who's a Nina? Jasper? A Wylan.
All the Wylans are over there. That's weird. They were drawn to this section.
Matthias, excuse me.
No, Matthias.
Matthias.
Yeah. They're all like, well, I had a rough childhood, but no, yeah.
What are you?
I'm all of them.
Yeah.
I'm all of them, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they're my worst and best parts. Nina is me on my most confident day, right? When I'm tricked out like this, I'm Nina, right? Most days I'm like, ugh. So but Nina is the person who's in her pajamas feels like this. And, Wyland's shame comes from my shame. Kaz's attitude toward his cane was something I built into him and then took on for myself. He was most definitely a wish fulfillment character. So they're all part of me in both weakness and in strength, I think.
Which or whose voice was the hardest for you to write?
Oh, honestly, probably Wyland because of the science. Like, I'm real bad at science, so anytime there's a character who's engineering or doing chemistry, I'm like, I'll fill this in later. I'll figure this out later. Matthias locked in early, and honestly, Nina's voice was hard for me. When I did the first draft of Six of Crows, she was a little boring. She was almost like a cipher character, and then there's a scene very early in Six of Crows where Kaz comes to see her. It's the first time we meet her, and she toes her slippers off, and she's eating a cake, and Kaz says to her, "You have crumbs on your cleavage," and she's like, "I don't care," and just keeps eating her cake, and I'm like, oh, there you are. And when I wrote that, I was like, that's my Nina, and I built from there. Like, her confidence, her audacity, and her pleasure in the world all came from that moment.
I love hearing that story, and also the way you said toes her slippers off. You are such a writer. Which voice came most instinctually or not?
Weirdly, Matthias. Okay.
Really?
Are there any Avatar: The Last Airbender fans? All right. I didn't think about this at the time, but I have since. Matthias is Big Blonde Zuko. Okay? Honor! Like, okay, this is him. And he has such a classic fantasy voice, right? He's a little bit formal. He's a little bit, like, he's just so dogmatic that he was easy to write. Like, it was just instantly locked in. Yeah.
That is so funny to me. I'm trying not to laugh into the microphone. So the characters in Six of Crows are all people who have been hurt, abandoned, underestimated, and yet they build this strange little family together. What about this sort of found family story connects so deeply with readers, do you think?
I mean, I think we've all had that experience. I think that's almost a universal thing, that you can't move through the world without being hurt and hurting people. That's the nature of being a human. And I think, at least for me, I did not come from a particularly warm or supportive family. And my journey was finding people who were my family, who were my army, who I could rely on, who I could be weak in front of, who I could turn to in dark times. And I think for a lot of people, that's almost like a unifying force. And I think it's particularly true among book people. I think when you read, you develop higher empathy, we know this, and I think also we try to be thoughtful about the world and each other at our best. So, I don't know, when I look at a room full of book readers, I think, well, here's one big found family. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. That's why we all fight at Thanksgiving, it's great.
If Kaz assembled the crew again 10 years later for one more impossible job, what would the heist be, Leigh? On the spot.
I mean, okay, so Letters from Catterdam is very brief, again, short story, but it is a heist. Or it's more of a con, and it's a puzzle for people to solve. And people have asked if there's an audio version or a digital version, like an ebook. There are not. And if you solve the puzzle, you will understand why. It could only be done in physical form. And I don't know why I set out to do this. I should have just written a damn Christmas novella and everybody would have been happier. But this is the way my brain works. I'm like, let's make it as difficult as possible. Good idea? Great idea. So that was sort of the idea. But when I think about 10 years on, it's different because my brain doesn't work that way. And I know the heist I would write if I wrote another Six of Crows book. Like, I have that in mind, but I don't know if I'll ever write it. Like,
Why? Look
I
at all
have
your
to go.
fans who want it.
Honestly, because it got too noisy in my head. Like, if you've read Rule of Wolves, you know that there's a big door that got left open at the end of that book. And I had every intention of walking through it. And then the show happened, and I am grateful for the show. It changed my life for the better. I am wildly proud of it, and you know how much I loved our cast and our writers. But it changed my relationship to the work, and I haven't felt ready to go back to those stories, and I don't want to just do it for a paycheck. Like, these characters changed my life. They mean a great deal to me. I have been truly honored to see that they mean a lot to other people, and I don't want to just play with that. Like, that's a serious undertaking. So until I can, like, get rid of those voices in my head and relax into it and actually enjoy myself, probably not for a while.
And that's why we love Leigh, right?
Oh. They're like, actually, we'd like a third book.
Well, you do like threes, sorry. So I've asked so much about characters, and I'm almost a little embarrassed I haven't mentioned your world building skills. When you read a Leigh Bardugo novel, you are truly transported. I mean, one of my favorite things, and I think fans' favorite things about Six of Crows, is how real Ketterdam feels. It's crime bosses, the merchant houses, the canals, all the little details. Was there a specific piece of real-world history or city lore that helped you unlock that setting?
Yes. I mean, for me, research is truly pleasurable. Like, I really enjoy history, and it's actually hard for me to put that part of the process down and step away from it. But for me, obviously, the Dutch Republic of the 1700s, Ketterdam, Amsterdam, etc., but also Venice, London, you know, England, this tiny island that ruled the world through trade, and a variety of other paths. Like that mentality, and also the kind of economic structures that informed them, were very much the base of Ketterdam. And even early New York, which was, of course, New Amsterdam, all of that played a role in it, and learning about criminal enterprise in those places, understanding the way merchants did business. And there were certain things, like in the Dutch Republic, they would send ships out, and only one of the three were expected to return. Okay, that loss of life was acceptable for profit. I actually changed that to 1 in 5 because 1 in 3 sounded so
insane,
absolutely nuts. So for me, research is where the inspiration comes from. And I also think it really grounds the work. Like, I can tell if somebody hasn't done research because they'll be like, my poor farmer father had but 8 horses. And I'm like, he had 8 horses, really? Or they have a little bag of gold that they take everywhere. You know, like, there are certain things where I'm like, no, you've read a lot of fantasy, but you maybe didn't research how agriculture works, how a feudal economy works, et cetera. And I think that that is the thing that roots me in a story, and I try to root people into.
That's so cool to hear.
I will also, okay, I'm gonna get my soapbox for a second. I also...
Do it, Queen, go on.
There's a certain thing that happens a lot in fantasy that I call poverty tourism, where people will write about not having things in a way that I'm like, you have never not had something. And I will never forget reading, and it really grosses me out because they're like, see, she's an underdog because she's poor. And I'm like, you have never not had the right jeans, you have never worried about where your next meal is coming from, you have never had to pay, like, I don't want to hear it. So that for me is also a part of world building. Like, if you are going to go into those spaces, do not be a tourist. Do not be a tourist.
Well said. I'm gonna give that
What is that?
Oh, this is what the kids do. You guys know what this is, right?
I was like, it's like she's got a little puppet. I like that. It's like a little bird. Yeah.
Leigh, are you on TikTok?
No. And I never will be.
Okay, this is a TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, before we put down Six of Crows, because I promise I will talk about other things, it is the 10th anniversary that we're celebrating, so I want to celebrate with a very small lightning round. And everyone in the audience, will you play along with me? Because I want to hear your answers too. Oh, God. Okay, so among the crows, who is the best person to plan a party?
Y'all are fools. Kaz plans the party. Kaz is the planner. But then Jesper and Nina host the party because Kaz will not attend the party. Yeah. He'll just steal everybody's wallets on the way out.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Worst person to trust with your credit card.
Again, trick question. Don't trust any of them with your credit card. Wylan is okay. Even Matthias would be like, I reject your capitalism. Like, don't do it.
Okay, most likely to survive a zombie apocalypse. Ooh.
Nina. She controls the dead, y'all. I have to go now. These are hard questions. These are so tricky.
They got them. Okay, so you do have a new book coming out this year. One that I am very excited about. So is everyone else, apparently. Deadbeat is the final book of the Alex Stern trilogy. So without spoilers, what emotional state should readers prepare themselves for?
I hope there will be a gamut of emotions. You may laugh. I did cry twice while writing it, and that's usually a good indication of people crying, so I do hope you cry. I hope it'll be a little scary and gross in places. It is most definitely a final book. There will be no doubt in your mind that the hammer has dropped. Is like, that's all I'm not gonna tell you, but y'all know I love to kill someone, so.
That was sort of I was trying to get her to tell us something. That was my best attempt. Okay, well, the Alex Stern trilogy is all about secret societies and dark magic and murder set among the Ivy League elite. You attended Yale, and you were a member of Wolf's Head Secret Society. Truly, the only thing I know about secret societies is from Gilmore Girls. So.
That is a much more wholesome version than Ninth House.
What is it really like, and why secret?
Well, the real societies are kind of boring. I'm gonna be honest with you. They have very cool tombs, these clubhouses that don't have windows, and that I always, they're built to look like Egyptian tombs or a giant English manor house or a giant mausoleum. And so it's a very like, oh, we're secret. Don't look at me. Look at me. Don't look at me. Look at me. Like it's a very weird dynamic. But in the past, I think they were very much centers of power. They were kind of the pinnacle of the old boys network, and they came out of when Phi Beta Kappa, is like a fancy academic thing. It wasn't before. It started as a drinking club. It was a secret society drinking club, and then there was a big movement in the US that was like, we hate Masons, we hate secret societies, all bad, right? So Phi Beta Kappa was like, we're going public, and now we're all gonna be nerds. And the guys who were about to get tapped into Phi Beta Kappa at Yale were like, well, I was promised cloaks and secrecy and drinking and a cool nickname, and they were like, we're gonna go start Skull and Bones, and then a bunch of presidents came out of that. So that's the actual origin of the secret societies, but for me, I didn't want to demystify them, I wanted to hypermystify them. I wanted to take those societies that operate as these networks of influence and make magical influence the same as economic or social or political influence.
I mean, you did just that because a lot of Ninth House is Alex learning how to move through these spaces where she's very visibly out of place.
Yeah.
Classrooms, faculty dinners, the tomb of these secret societies. She's hyper aware of money and language and how people perceive her.
Yeah.
Were there moments from your own experience that helped you capture that feeling of being an outsider? Yes.
College for me was like landing on an alien planet. Like, it was the first time I understood class, like I'm from LA where, everybody pretends that they're like, I live at the beach, so I wear a t-shirt all the time and shorts and flip-flops, and you'd never know I'm a billionaire or whatever, but you're like, I can tell you're a billionaire. I think this was the first time I encountered old money. This is the first time, like, I was a good student, but I went to my first class and I got a C on my first essay in an English class. And this was like, a dagger to my heart, but I didn't know. I didn't have the skills to be competitive. I didn't know the language people were speaking around me. And I still carry that with me a little bit. Like, I was invited to this woman's house in the Hamptons, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to the Hamptons. But then I was like, I was sweating about like, what clothes do I wear? What do I bring for a gift? Like, how do I be a good guest? Because again, that feels like a language other people know that I don't know. And if you haven't been raised in it, it's hard to learn, right? So that is very much in Alex's experience.
I fear you might hate me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. One of my favorite Leigh facts is that you are basically Mensa. So the fact that you got a C on a college paper is insane to me.
I want to be real clear, I've never joined Mensa because I'm not into that. But yeah, this lady, the way we met was we did an interview and she hit me with like, so the school you went to when you were a child? And I was like, she actually researched. She has a secret power.
I knew who I was sitting with.
I'm
You are the
just saying.
most researched.
But look, smart is great, but the reality is smart doesn't get you into college. Going to a prep school gets you into college, right? Being able to take a test well gets you into college. Having connections gets you into college. And then when you get to college, you've got to survive there. Like, I dated this guy, and both his parents were professors. He knew a secret cheat code for everything. He applied for grants. He went to office hours. He got a free trip to Italy to study Hadrian's Villa, because really we needed one more person to do that. And I'm like, oh, I missed out on so much because I didn't know. Yeah.
Totally. Well, across the trilogy, Alex faces so many challenges. So many.
Yeah.
At what point when you were writing did you feel like, I may have tortured her enough?
Oh, never. Never. I mean, I will tell you, I think Alex's secret superpower is not being able to see ghosts or being able to use hellfire or any of that. I think her actual power is the willingness to take a beating and get back up.
Ooh.
Like, she literally, I actually guess she's the living embodiment of we never stop fighting. Like, you knock her down, she will get, she's the knight in Monty Python, you know? It's only a flesh wound. Come back, you coward! Like, that's Alex, and it's in her soul, and she is, to me, kind of a fundamental survivor, but that's what differentiates her from the people around her.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't take challenge lightly.
I have such a soft spot for her.
Me too.
Like, before the story even begins, she's been through so much trauma. How did you think about writing this, what I would call a survivor story, without making it tidy or redemptive?
I mean, I like characters who keep their edge. You know, Kaz is never going to be a softie, although in the Letters Project he's a little mush. But he's never going to be like, that's not how he operates in the world. Alex is never going to be somebody who doesn't have her shields up. And so finding the people and the relationships that begin to edge past that and allow her to lay down her armor, that is the heart of the story, and how hard it is to fight alone. But if you're used to fighting alone, like it is difficult to reach out and ask for help, because that's a tremendous level of vulnerability. But yeah, Alex says, you know, I want to survive this world that keeps trying to destroy me. And if I look at my books, that is at the heart of every book I've written.
I think that she's particularly hard to like
Good.
different than your other protagonists.
Yeah.
Was there ever a moment where you were worried that readers wouldn't follow her into the dark?
No. If you worry, if you live your life looking to speak to everyone and please everyone, you will never write something that pleases you. I wrote Alex the way I wanted to. She's mean and prickly and impulsive and tough as hell. And she's been through real things, and she is surrounded by people who burn through second chances, and she only has one. And actually, in Deadbeat, at one point, she's like, you know, she'd done this and this and this and this, and if they wanted nice on top of that, they could find a new wheel walker. Like, she is trying to survive, and when you try to survive, then you're not always gonna make everybody happy. And honestly, those are the characters I love. I love a character who's a little bit hard to like. I love a character who is maybe relatable but not likable. I find them exciting to write. And again, I think scared artists make bad art, and we live in a time that says, play to the crowd, play to a 30-second clip. this has to be 3 minutes long or no one will watch it. You're not going to get likes or follows. You know, all of this is flattening everything out and shaving the edges off of everything, and that doesn't interest me.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to be like, we applaud, but then we go back to our phones, right? We go back to our phones, and those phones rule us, and they eat our creativity, and they eat our energy, and they eat our focus, and we give it all away for free. And y'all hashtag anti-capitalism and fuck billionaires, and then you go right back to your phone. Like, we have to find a way to step away from that and take those things back, because right now we are all working for free. Viva la revolución! No, like, I'm just...
I was going to ask you about Ninth House, but actually, I'm going to go into creativity a little more deeply, because you mentioned it, and you gave my favorite TED Talk of all time. Okay. I'm an interviewer. You would think my favorite TED Talk was like how to ask the best questions. No. Leigh has the best TED Talk I have ever watched, and it's all about the creative process and discomfort. Why did you make it?
Well, it was a lesson to myself. More than anything, I thought about the thing that had held me back the most when I was trying to write all of those books, when I'd had all of those false starts. I was great at first chapters. I was great at first acts. I did not know how to move on from there. Why? Because the story really starts at the start of the second act. That's where the bulk of the book is. And if you talk to any author, they'll talk about the mushy middle, right? How do you get through the mushy middle? And finding those story points along the way. And what I realized was I had absorbed this idea from culture that I would have an idea and I would sit down and it would all come flowing out of me, because that's what I had seen repeated again and again. And again, we're seeing this in social media. Somebody spends years developing a skill, or they spend months on a project, and again, it's reduced down to 30 seconds in a montage. And montage culture has erased difficulty. It has erased challenge. It has erased discomfort, making mistakes, feeling like a fool, doubting yourself, all gone, right? Look how pretty and perfect this is. I get sucked into it too. And so for me, that TED Talk was a reminder that the pleasure of creation, it has to do with challenge. It has to do with discomfort. It's those moments when you want to turn away from the project and look at your phone or clean out your closet or whatever it's going to be, and instead we turn toward it and we understand that that discomfort is telling us we're trying to do something difficult. Not something wrong, not something bad. We're trying to do something difficult and it's worthwhile. And again, to get back on the soapbox, I'm sure I'm going to get set on fire on the internet eventually for this, but AI, we talk about a lot in terms of theft of copyright, theft of intellectual property. But what we don't talk about is that it is stealing the experience of flow from us. It's stealing the experience of creation from us. How good does it feel when you solve a problem, right? Like, when I was writing Six of Crows, I didn't know how to get them out of the ice court. I was like, I built an impenetrable fortress, what the hell? They are stuck here, right? And then for weeks, I was like, I don't know. And then I'm in the shower, I'm washing my hair, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I can invent a tank. And I did. And then I had to go back, and I had to seed the tank into the book. But that is pleasurable. It's an incredible feeling when you are writing, and the sentence isn't right, it's not right, and then ping, you hear it, you feel it in your body. That's what AI is stealing from artists. It's not just stealing our copyright, it's stealing the experience of being a writer, an artist, a creator, and that's some bullshit. I apparently have a lot to say.
It's why we love you, and it's why you are a writer.
Bless.
You say don't skip the discomfort. Were you there when you were writing your new book?
Yes. I will say that writing Deadbeat was pretty pleasurable for me, but I did have solves I had to make. And I have really wonderful critique partners who are kind to me, but will let me know. And I work with a very talented editor who will let me know. And I love that. I like to be edited. I like to improve things. And I think the revision, though, was challenging, because I have a big battle scene at the end of this book. And there's a lot that has to happen, and to me, fight scenes are only interesting if there's like real emotional choreography happening in them. Like, I don't want it to just be dance moves. Like, I want the heart in there. I want people to feel that. So that, to me, is sort of the biggest challenge of it. And again, so much easier to just be like, oh, perhaps I'll scroll for, maybe I could see if there's something new on anthropology. Like, nah, go back to the art, go back to the work, because that will give you satisfaction that nothing else will.
Because it is finishing out the trilogy, what are you hoping readers are going to feel when they close it and finish the last page?
Oh gosh, I want them to feel like giving it 5 stars on Goodreads.
I feel like that was a request.
I think the greatest compliment for me is when somebody tells, and I know this is weird given the things I write, but I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, I see someone in a Yale sweatshirt. I've had a lot of people tell me that I've written their comfort book. And that, to me, is just the greatest compliment, because I was a kid who took shelter in books. And, like, my favorites were, like, you know, Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption. Like, oh, what a heartwarming tale. But those stories, for whatever reason, I came back to again and again. So I guess for me, it would be, I want to go back and read this series again. I want to go again. Like, I think that would be incredible.
I love hearing that. And even Shawshank Redemption, I get
I mean, I was miserable in high school, and it's a prison break story, right? Like, it's a prison break, you know, redemption, you know, getting justice when there is none story. Like, yeah, I loved it. I read it again and again and again.
I have a corny saying that I love, that good shoes and good books have something in common. They all take you places.
Oh,
they can take you across seas into love stories.
It's not corny, that's good.
Well, I made it up because I really love shoes. And books. Okay, is there any tea that you can give us about the adaptation?
I almost just gave something away, okay. Don't get excited, it's Hollywood, nothing ever happens. You wait and you wait and you wait, and then maybe one day they call you, and then they're like, maybe? No. Maybe? No. Then maybe. We'll see.
Cool.
I don't write things that are easy to adapt. They're incredibly expensive. They mean a big swing. And I was actually talking to a friend who's a fantasy writer, and I said to him, you need to understand, when you walk into a room to pitch something, you're asking somebody to put their job on the line. When somebody takes a swing on a fantasy project, the kind of budget that requires, even if they don't give you a lot of money, is still a lot of money, and they will lose their jobs. Like, that is the reality if they take a swing on you. And whatever feelings I have about, you know, not getting a 3rd season, not getting a spinoff, et cetera, I am still grateful to Netflix for taking a swing on that show, because there was no reason for them to. And they made the leap on both of these things. And they wanted to just do Shadow and Bone. And we came to them and said, we want to do Six of Crows. And they said, okay. So that's not a small thing. And I don't know, I hope we're in position for people to take some more swings in the future. We'll see. That was as vague as I could be, right? Sorry.
Well, I'm going to throw you another question, which is sort of my best attempt for you to give us secrets about something you're working on. We'll see if it works. I'm on your team. What's something that you've recently fallen down a research rabbit hole about that hasn't shown up in a book yet, but might one day?
Poisons.
Ooh.
Man, nobody near me better die, right? This is like Exhibit A. Like, he passed away mysteriously in his sleep, or did he? Yeah, I have an idea for what I want my next novel to be, and it would be very murder heavy. So we'll see. But I'm calling this the last year of hustle, right? I'm touring for my picture book in June, I'm touring for Deadbeat in September, and then I'm not gonna tour anymore. That's my plan. I physically cannot do it anymore. I'll do like festivals like this, conventions, one-offs, but I can't put my body through that anymore. And this is also the year of many, many deadlines. But I have a graphic novel coming. I have a crazy horror project coming with a bunch of incredible authors, and I cannot wait to announce it. And then eventually I'll get to sit down and write the next novel.
So you just mentioned you have a new book. We have a picture book with Better Pets. You've now written across fantasy, dark academia, historical fiction. When readers pick something up with your name on the cover, whether it's Ketterdam or Yale or Renaissance Spain, what do you hope that they're taking from a Leigh Bardugo story?
I mean, again, I hope it's a place of escape, right? No matter the dark things that might be happening in the story, I hope they get to leave our world for a little while and feel maybe stronger, more powerful, and maybe thrilled, frightened, whatever it is, but to leave our reality, I think, is a pleasure. And I don't know, I think I want people to be immersed. Like, I want them to feel that my dream growing up, like, have you guys read not seen The Princess Bride, but read The Princess Bride? Okay, so it's wonderful, right? Except for the prologue, don't read the prologue. But it's so wonderful and so witty, but as a kid, when I was reading that, I went to look for Florin and Gilder on maps, right? Because it seemed real to me, it had to be real, and that is my fantasy for my books, that people will go to the places, that they will look up the real people, that they will feel that tension that says maybe magic is real. That's what I want.
Oh, I love that maybe magic is real, because it is.
Yeah.
It is in its own way.
Look, man, fantasy and sci-fi fans, we believe, all right? And I feel bad for the people who don't get to live that way. Like, that's sad that you go through life not being able to believe. That is sad for you. Join us.
Come on over.
Come on over.
I can't call it the dark side.
You can. You should. Yeah.
Okay, come on over to the dark side.
Yes, girl, yes.
Okay, so I consider you one of the best world builders out there. And you're creative in a way that I haven't seen many people. I'm guessing that is one of the reasons that so many of you are here today. When I think about Leigh's books, I think Unbound, right? Yeah, I'm getting a lot of head nods. It's just endless. And I think we heard earlier, there's a lot of aspiring writers in the room today. Can I just see a show of hands?
I see the competition. Close the doors.
So I think that for a lot of writers, sitting down to write a novel can feel like a heist. Like, it is just so hard. When people are thinking, how am I supposed to pull this off? What is the first step?
Let yourself off the hook. You're not going to do it all at once. Of course it feels overwhelming. You are building a world. But you don't need to know where everything goes. When I think about world building, I don't just apply it to science fiction and fantasy. I apply it to every kind of book. And I think it's a great way to learn, because if you are from a small town in the South and you're reading a political thriller set in Washington, you are entering a new world. You need to have a sense of place and a sense of how power operates. Those are the two fundamentals. And all you're doing when you're world building initially is you're giving your reader enough signposts to orient themselves so they don't feel lost or like arbitrary things are coming at them. That's your job. The challenge is never world building, it's the release of information. And I think we learn that best by not just reading within science fiction and fantasy, but reading outside of that genre in books that have a really compelling sense of place or a really complicated sense of power. And for me, you can, as an exercise, like when I used to teach, I would teach an exercise where we would go through the first page of a book, and you can mark, here is the marker of power, here's a marker of place. And these things are always filtered through the character's emotions. But it will not happen all at once. That's what first drafts are for. You are teaching yourself how to go along, and no matter how much you prepare, and how many character arcs you write down, and how many maps you build and languages you build, that first draft is still gonna kick your butt. It should, okay? It's the hard part. And then you get to go in and make it beautiful.
I could listen to you talk about creativity and writing all day. So if somebody is stuck, are you saying go read?
I mean, it depends what kind of writer you are, right? I love research. Like, I'm the person who always needs the audio guide. I will read every plaque that is on a wall. Like, I need information. So I've learned that when I'm stuck, researching is not a diversion. It's actually a great way to re-inspire myself and get myself back locked in. However, you need to learn your own process. You need to learn when you're actually feeding yourself and when you're distracting yourself. And that's part of the challenge, I think, of being a working creative.
Well said. So we asked you all to submit some questions, and I have some questions from you guys in the audience today. Here we go. Are you ready, Leigh?
I don't know. Let me know.
So Sital says, huge fan. When it comes to an established older series like Grishaverse, is it difficult to get back into the world in order to write a spin-off such as A Darker Shore?
No, it feels so natural. It's one of the things I loved about returning to this. And even when I was writing Rule of Wolves, slipping into the crows' voices was so easy. That world just exists for me because I lived in it for seven books and a book of two books of short stories. I lived there a long time. It's like, oh God, talk about corny, but it's like coming home. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I know. She dresses in black, but she's soft and pink in the heart.
I love when you do voices.
I can't stop myself. I was an only child. This is my life.
Grace says, how do you do justice to difficult subjects such as trauma while balancing a story's inherent desire to romanticize?
Ooh, that's a good question. Again, don't be a tourist. Misery doesn't exist to be overcome. Trauma does not exist to be overcome. For those of us who have been through some shit, which I have, it is a part of you. It's part of your fabric, but it is, when you step back from the tapestry, there's a much bigger picture. And my goal is always to write characters who have been through things, but who get to be through good things too. And actually, Alex even says, maybe good things happen just the way bad things did. That there is pleasure and opportunity and magic and adventure for people who are not perfect, who are not perfectly healthy, who do not have their shit together all the time, who do not have their lives in order. That is all available to you. And for me, that was an important lesson in life. I really thought that the life I wanted, happily married, best-selling author, look at my cute garden and my dog, I thought that belonged to a different kind of person. And I was wrong. That belonged to me, and I just had to go out and get it. And I hope you will too. Go out and get it. You're the nicest interviewer ever. I'm walking out of here like, I am a genius.
But she is. Okay, Anaya says, in Six of Crows, Kaz uses a cane due to a prior injury. How did your own experience with disability enable you to write a character with chronic pain, and do you think there's more room in fantasy for disabled characters?
Yeah, I mean, please. That's literally what I just, fantasy and romance and adventure and sexy business, that doesn't just belong to one kind of person. It doesn't. And that's not what our world looks like, so that's not what our fiction should look like. But for me, and this is embarrassing to admit, when I wrote Six of Crows, I wasn't consciously creating a character who walked with a cane. I wasn't like, oh, I need to work through some stuff. And then I got to the end of the first draft and I was like, I am an incredibly obvious fool because I had written this wish fulfillment character. And I think Kaz actually kind of empowered me. I remember walking across the New Haven Green when I was on, it was late at night, I was by myself, I had my cane, and I was felt the spirit of Kaz, you better run from me, which is probably a little diluted. But I feel like that is why Kaz is who he is, because I needed to make peace with my own internalized feelings about my disability, about the pain that I was in, and about what I was missing out on because I was so in my own head that I wasn't willing to use a cane.
Yeah.
And when I got past that, it changed my whole life. And again, it's embarrassing. I'm not proud of the fact that my ableism was that internalized, but I even had people come up to me on the first tour and say, I imagine Kaz is an old man and I don't know why. And I was like, I know why, because the only people with canes or mobility aids you've seen are old people. That's what culture shows us. And I am physically doing so much better than I have done. I got stem cell treatment, I went through a whole thing, and I'm doing better, but this is still If I come to a place like Javits, if I'm in an airport, this is coming with me, and I am grateful for it every time. It's like a little bird. It's a
I
friend.
like, this is the new thing.
Again, only child. I'm like, hello, friend.
I feel like we can make this.
They're cutting us off. How dare?
Oh, really? I thought we had 5 minutes, no?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Sarah says, I believe the female friendship in your books are one of the most beautiful parts of the Grishaverse, especially Inej and Nina. Can you speak on the importance of having women show up for one another in your books?
I mean, this is the story of my life. Sorry, I'm gonna get emotional. You Oprah'd me. I knew she was gonna do it.
I actually
Wait,
think
it's Sarah. Wherever you are, Sarah. Look, again, I've made some big bad decisions in my life. I've gone down some dark paths, but the best decisions I ever made were the women I brought into my sphere, who became my friends and who became my army. And when I was ready to reach out and ask for help, they were there. They were there to pick me up off the ground and shepherd me out of the worst place I had been in my life. And I've done the same for them. Like, that is what we do for each other. And have you ever met someone who's like, I don't have female friends, I don't get along with women?
I try and run.
I'm always like, I don't trust you. Like, I don't trust people who have never had a bad boss, and I don't trust you. So to me, like that is just a vital part of life. And again, I think this was something I was learning as I was writing, is to write my own life and to write my own feelings about my relationships into those stories. But I dedicated Ninth House to my roommates from college for the many rescues, because that's what we did. You rescue me, I rescue you.
For the many rescues.
For the many rescues.
That's so beautiful. Okay, Brianna. Hi, Leigh. You have 2 big releases coming out this year in Letters to Ketterdam and Deadbeat.
And Better Pets. Pre-order Better Pets. Let me keep writing picture books. I promise I'll write other books too.
I was wondering what's next for you.
The graphic novel. That's something that's been in the works for a while. It was originally, I can tell you what it was originally going to be called, The Bride, but now I have to change the name. But yeah, I have this graphic novel project. It's super pulpy, it's super gonzo. And then the horror project, which again, I can't speak to exactly, but it's a little nuts. And I was amazed. We had a list of authors I wanted to bring on board for this, and I actually got all of my first choices, which blew my mind. And one of them, the last guy who came on, was like, this is like a murderer's row. And I was like, yeah. So I'm very excited about that. But I don't think we're going to announce that until like the end of the year, because we got to get everything in order.
That's so exciting.
Yeah. And then I don't know. I really want to write a screenplay, but I don't have time. So.
But it's done in 3s, so you'll figure it out.
That's right, exactly.
Exactly. I have a favor to ask you all. I always feel like it's so rare to get people in one room who really love the same thing nowadays, right? Like, we're all so splintered. And when I saw you all, led by your amazing direction, put your faux lighters up, the flashlights with your phones, I got an idea. Will you indulge me? Okay, Leigh, yes. I know I'm gonna have to pick up my phone. Are you mad?
No.
Okay.
You may proceed.
Okay.
I don't know what she's going with this, though. This could get real dark.
Okay, will you stand up with me? Can everybody stand up and put their lighters up?
What are we doing? What are we doing? What's happening now? Okay. I've got my dress is sweaty. Okay.
Okay, this is gonna play really well on TikTok.
Then I want no part of it. Okay.
Okay, ready? Woo!
All right, on the count of 3, make some noise. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, that was so special, thank you.
But I didn't get to do my thing. No mourners. Yeah!
Everybody Everybody, please join me in giving Leigh Bardugo a warm round of applause.
One more time, let's hear it for Leigh and Danielle.
Thank you.
All right, friends, make sure when you exit out those doors. We'll see you back here real soon.